Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today, driving home after another good day of work. The biggest WWE rumor of the day came through, and it honestly gave me the biggest smile of all time. I'm really excited. I was really excited to make this video. Honestly, as soon as I saw the headline, WWE is going to be inducting Triple H as its headlining WWE Hall of Famer this year. I don't believe anybody deserves this as much as he does. I can honestly think of two people, I'll tell you this much. One is never ever going to see the likes of day. That would be Vince McMahon. And the other one would be The Rock. Triple H, I think, is the number 3 performer to go into the WWE Hall of Fame that deserves it this year. This guy as basically, struck gold. He, debuted in WCW. He did his time there. He saw the writing on the wall that he was never going to climb up the ranks. And I think he honestly looked at it as if he is going to do this, he wants to do it on the grandest stage of them all. He jumped over to WWF when he debuted. He basically was the same exact character that he was in WCW, now coming over as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He came in, he made friends with the Clique, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac. As soon as he got there, he was told, I believe by Terry Taylor, that they were a group of guys that he thought that he would get along with, and if he was with them, I don't think that it was like so-called they could gain power or anything like that, but he would be in the car with them, and he could learn about what it's like to be in WWF, learn about how to have better matches. That was kind of like the best click for him to join up with. Shortly after he would be there, Triple H isn't a guy that came in and immediately gained power like he did in the later half of his career. He was somebody who had to go out there and perform and give matches and basically show that he was somebody that they could trust. Didn't matter who he was going to be in the ring with, whether if it was going to be a guy like Henry O. Godwin, whether if it was going to be a guy like Shawn Michaels, that it was going to be a match that the WWF could be glad that they charged a ticket price for. Triple H's career, I'll tell you right off the bat, he's either number 1 or number 2 on my wrestler list. Hulk Hogan's number 1, Triple H is number 2, and every once in a while they will go back and forth and trade. When I met Triple H at SummerSlam, I believe it was 2013, I told him one of the reasons why he was one of my favorite wrestlers was, we had the box during the earlier half of his career. But, once I moved to my mom's house and I moved out on my own, when I had to buy the WWF pay-per-views with my own money, Triple H was one of the guys on the card that I knew. It didn't matter if he was in the main event, if he was wrestling for the Intercontinental Championship, if he was just in like a mid-card, not a mid-card, but like a main event supporting role, that his match was going to be awesome. I mean, the 3 stages of hell between him and Stone Cold Steve Austin, I felt like calling the cable company and being like, hey, do you mind if I pay twice? Because that match was freaking awesome. Once I started my DVD collection, that was one of the shows that I was really, looking forward to getting, to be able to have that match and be able to watch it whenever I needed it. Triple H gets looked at as a guy that, sort of fell into power because of his relationship with Stephanie McMahon being part of the family. Vince McMahon taking him under his wing and teaching him sort of like the business part of the WWF to make it, keep running. That, he kind of picked people out and buried them along the way. There's people that have really pointed at Triple H as one of the reasons they felt like they never could get over. They could never get over the hump to where they could be in a better spot in the company. I think that obviously, yes, there were probably people that Triple H pointed out and said, hey, we can't be doing this. Bubba Ray Dudley, in, I believe, around 2002, maybe it was 2003. It was, I believe, right around the time that they did the brand split and they brought back the World Heavyweight Championship. They did, like, a really good angle where Bubba, as a singles wrestler on Monday Night Raw, called out Triple H, saying that he was not a locker room leader because the locker room was not behind him. They kept on having these kind of exchanges that built up to them having a championship match on Raw. And during that match, Bubba Ray Dudley, he dropped Triple H on the table wrong, something like that. Something went wrong on the table spot during the match where Triple H could have got hurt. And Bubba Ray Dudley, in one of his shoot interviews, I can't remember if it was a High Spots or an RF video. I know that you don't really look for those on DVD anymore, and most of the old shoot interviews, you can find them, split up on YouTube now. But if you were able to find that, where he talks about that spot, he's like, you can't drop the Golden Goose in the ring and not feel like you're going to drop down the card because of it. Bubba Ray Dudley was never a main event guy until his days with the Aces and Eights in TNA, and he kind of believes that he deserves it, and it sucks, when you get your spot, you can't, not knock it out of the park. When you look at what happened with like Finn Balor when he won the Universal Championship at SummerSlam 2016, he got injured. He had to give the belt up, and the guy has never been close to the same spot. Yet once again, it sucks. But let's get back on top. Triple H, he's already been inducted as a part of DX. He went in a couple of years ago. For the people who think like, oh, what do you know? Triple H, he's on top, and he's like gonna put his own name, is to go into the Hall of Fame. It kind of sounds like, even though that last year it was really hit home, especially Paul Heyman during his speech, saying that Triple H is the guy that tapped him on the shoulder and said, you're going in. It kind of sounded like it was a surprise. They came up to him at the WWE, I think it's the investors call that was going on today, and sort of, planning out, what was, or not planning out, but rolling out what was going to be happening in the future. Triple H was named as the headlining WWE Hall of Famer, and he really took it by surprise. He got a little bit choked up talking about it, but Paul Heyman said that, as this being the Triple H era of WWE, which is now kind of being called the Netflix era, I think it's a very wrestler-friendly era. Triple H is one of the guys that, kind of was able to ease a lot of the tension, was able to get Bruno Sammartino to listen to him, that, him coming back, going into the Hall of Fame, having sort of a role in WWE, even though it seemed like it really never was what it was supposed to be. Ultimate Warrior coming back in what was sadly his last days. Who knows where the world would have been if Triple H wouldn't have talked to Ultimate Warrior into coming back at WrestleMania 30. Would he have flown home and passed away? Would he have passed away without ever getting his chance to go into the WWE Hall of Fame, which you can really tell during his speech, during his time on Raw, that he was really proud of everything that he had done that weekend, and basically being able to show his young daughters. He had two daughters, right? I'm pretty sure that they sat there in the front row and just got to be in a maze of the Ultimate Warrior was not only their dad, but this guy was a huge celebrity before they came along, and people really looked up to him, and kind of, you know, just was like, oh, wow, this is why we have the nice life that we have, is because of what, you know, their dad did before they were born. They're kind of, you know, living off of that, and that must have been pretty freaking cool. We probably had a pretty easy life because of how much he put into it. But who else was there? There was San Martino. There was Warrior. You know, I can't think of it, but you know, those two names coming back to the company and, you know, being eased back in. That was really, really big. That was awesome. And how Triple H, I'm not sure if he's just ahead of, you know, creative. I know that he doesn't have a board seat, and some people are kind of like itching their heads about like what that's all about. Why, you know, Rock's on the board, why Triple H is not there. You know, Nick Khan takes care of a lot of the other stuff. They seem to really work well together. The stories of them sort of being some sort of a power struggle, or maybe that Nick Khan, as soon as was able to sell his stuff, would sell out. Seems like he's really sticking with WWE. He's going to be there as a big part of the future. You know, I think that it's going to work out really, really well. And I think this is awesome. I'm not going to say that I'm going to have a tear in my eye or anything like that. I haven't attended a WrestleMania Hall of Fame. I don't know what to call it. The actual Hall of Fame show, I guess is the best way to put it. I haven't been to one since WrestleMania 31. We ended up leaving during Larry Zbyszko's speech to head over to the WrestleCon Super Show. Friday night, it's going to be after SmackDown. I don't really know what my schedule is going to be each and every day. I don't know who I'm going to be hanging out with. I don't know if I'll have people to hang out with, but not really sure that I'm going to want to spend that much time at a WWE show, knowing that Saturday as well as Sunday and hopefully Monday, if Raw tickets are acquirable, I'm going to be, you know, sitting there watching WWE when there's so many other options to watch other things in that town, as well as other experiences that are out there on the street. I know one place that I really, really want to go to is the Graveyard, the history of the neon lights of Las Vegas. And I think that honestly, if it comes down to me getting tickets to go to that, I would want to go to that over, you know, SmackDown. SmackDown is something that I can see almost anytime. And although it is Triple H's speech is going to live on, you know, via, you know, Twitter. They're going to be posting the best clips as well as that night. And it'll be on the WWE Network. Shall it survive whatever the hell is going on with Peacock, Netflix, ESPN, maybe in the foreseeable future. If that is ever erased, I'm hoping that there is going to be something that comes along to live on that was like the WWE Network. But that's a whole nother thing that it's going to have to get tackled along the way. But then again, it's like digital media is worth so much to so many different streaming platforms at the time. I don't know. You know, should Peacock say that they're not going to pick up the WWE deal? Does WWE find a way to bring back the WWE Network? I don't know. There's a lot of different things there. But Triple H, either my number one or my number two favorite guy of all time. I was one of the few people that was pumped when he won the 2016 Royal Rumble, knowing that, 2016 WrestleMania 32, he would headline against Roman Reigns in a main event WrestleMania. I never got to see him main event at WrestleMania. He did have some really good freaking matches at shows I went to. 26, he wrestled against Sheamus. 27 against The Undertaker. 28 against Undertaker. 30 against Daniel Bryan, and what might as well been the main event, even though it was the opener. It basically set up the entire show. WrestleMania 31, he wasn't on the show because he did the whole thing setting up what they thought was going to be a match at WrestleMania 32 between Ronda Rousey. Conor McGregor was rumored to be involved in that, and that ended up never happening. But a lot like the stuff with The Rock. That I guess is just never going to happen along the way. But Triple H, Hall of Fame. He deserves it. I'm pumped. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Driving home from work. I made a video, honestly, about one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Triple H, going into the Hall of Fame. I got a text today from my good buddy, Justin Sunbryan, RKO Infamous NWO. I was texting him about the Observer Convention, and he congratulated me on Triple H going into the Hall of Fame, saying that was my guy. I texted him right back, and I said, yeah, but there's probably no chance I'm going to be able to go to the show because I'm so kind of like scared about time management that I don't think I'll be able to go to SmackDown. Then I was kind of thinking, like, if I bought a SmackDown ticket, would I be able to go? Because it's a live show. Would I be able to go into the arena once I knew SmackDown was over just to see the Hall of Fame ceremony? Because it's like a combo ticket where you see both events. Or because the show had already been on for 3 hours, would they lock the doors and not let me in there? I was kind of thinking about that. But yesterday, I really could not believe the amount of hate I saw on the internet about Triple H going into the Hall of Fame. Wrestling Observer Live, I watched the show yesterday when I got home, and they were really making it think that, like, Triple H put himself into the Hall of Fame. They did not believe the story of Undertaker and Shawn Michaels pulling a ruse and basically showing up and invading that meeting that Triple H was having, where they announced him going into the Hall of Fame. They pretty much made it seem like Triple H, called his own number in the huddle and basically said that he was going into the Hall of Fame. I understand that there is a lot of negativity about Triple H in WWE from 2005 to 2011. I can honestly tell you that after WrestleMania 27-ish, I think Triple H went into business for WWE instead of himself. He never really used himself to, like, put people over on the way out, I guess you can say. They kept him as, like, a piece of importance. Maybe you can say that, like, during Saturday night's main event, where they let Kevin Owens put his hands on Triple H, and they kind of bumped into each other, and Hunter was mad. Kevin was trying to, like, show that his, like, him being a grizzly bear, I guess you can say, like, he was trying to be ferocious, and he didn't care who came out of the back. We've seen, Kevin Owens headbutt, Vince McMahon when he was in charge. We saw him fight Shane McMahon to the death on occasions. I can honestly say that I honestly believe that there was a time, when Triple H, used his influence and his power to hold down people like Rob Van Dam, or, it's even been, talked about on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast and on the Cardona's Z True Hollywood Story podcast, that, him and Triple H had a rocky relationship. Triple H came on the show that one time, but a lot of times he kind of felt like, Triple H was holding him down. And that's just like two that I can pull off the top of my head. But I really don't think that's the way it is. And if you don't believe that in this world, Triple H deserves to be the headlining main event guy for the Hall of Fame, who out there are you going to be the headliner? I'll give you the argument that you can make Bray Wyatt could be the headliner, but then again, like, go back to WrestleMania 31 when they put Macho Man Randy Savage in there. They kind of put him in as a supporting player because I don't think they wanted everybody to walk out of the San Jose Center that night, crying because of the fact that Macho Man Randy Savage isn't with us anymore. Maybe you could put Sid in there, a former WWF as well as WCW champion. I don't know. Honestly, I think they painted themselves into a corner at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles with Rey Mysterio going into the Hall of Fame. We still see Rey Mysterio, pop up on Raw as well as SmackDown whenever he's not injured. He wrestled on Monday against Kofi Kingston. And I don't think... I think they kind of got held up because they didn't have anybody to be the main eventer. I don't know if it really added to the Rey Mysterio versus Dominic match to have him be the headliner that year. I think it was a lot like WrestleMania 26 with Ted DiBiase being the headliner. Ted DiBiase was an awesome wrestler before he went to a WWF in Mid-South. When he was in WWF as the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, one hell of a character. But I think they really thought that they were going to get the Ultimate Warrior that year, and they didn't get him. But I'm not trying to kick dirt on Rey Mysterio, saying that he wasn't a good Hall of Famer. I just don't think that he was the guy that they wanted, and maybe some way down the road we'll hear the real story about who was supposed to be the headliner that year. But why not it be Triple H? Why wouldn't he put himself in there? It's not like Triple H has been in action in the last 2 years. I think that would have been a good time for him to go in. But Triple H is my guy. I'll defend the guy until the day I die. I think that his stock as a wrestler has only gone up since his retirement because of his work that he does for the company. I was going to say in the office, but I think he's kind of bigger than the offices now. And the production style videos of him showing his vision for wrestlers when they make their entrance to go along with their themes, working with the people, with the cameras to make sure that they're shot in the right light. He's even out there during the Rock promos. When The Rock comes back, I think the guy's bigger than wrestling at this point. His stock's only going to go up. I think that we're lucky to see him go into the Hall of Fame. Probably the only, bigger Hall of Famers out there that aren't in the Hall of Fame. One's never going to happen. That'd be Vince McMahon. The other one would be The Rock. Who knows when he thinks he's going to have enough time on his schedule in order to go in. Maybe he doesn't want to go in until he knows that his days of having a chance to wrestle are done. But I don't know, man. I don't think that this is a glory, look at me, all hail Triple H kind of thing. Look at his eyes, look at his face. When they do the Shawn Michaels music, he didn't know that he was coming out, and he didn't know what's going on. But we'll see what happens with this Triple H Hall of Fame. I don't know why people hated it, but I'll tell you this much: I loved it. Oh, by the way, who do you think's gonna induct him? I think Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker could be easy picks. Maybe they find some way to do it together. But in my mind, especially with her being on the McAfee show and her having her own ESPN show, I think Stephanie inducting Triple H into the Hall of Fame is the best bet. Stephanie's my pick.